What's up guys, David here. I'm here to review the 2021 K2 Alchemist. Here's the deal guys, the reason why I'm doing this review is because I'm really passionate about this sport. When I invest in equipment, in sporting equipment, I do a lot of research, and when I was doing my research, I just found that a lot of the reviews out there were really focused on features and specifications, but no one really spoke about their experience with the board. And so I'm not a guy that's going to give a review after a run and a half about this board. This is about my experience with this board under my feet. So hopefully it helps you, and that's the reason why I'm doing this, is hopefully I can help somebody else, because I wish I had this review before I bought it. But in the end, I'm happy I bought it because it's an awesome board. So a little bit of background about me. I've been snowboarding for 30 plus years, so you know, I'm an experienced snowboarder, you know, probably on the advanced side of the snowboarding spectrum. I've rode a lot of boards in the past, and look, I haven't rode 1,000 boards, but I've certainly had quite a few. So I'm speaking from experience, but again, I'm not a snowboarder that goes through, you know, 10 different boards in a season. I buy a board because it's the best board out there, and I really do want to buy the best, and I stick with it. So I will change, you know, as technology changes, but certainly, again, I'm not a guy coming, you know, and I'm going to give you a review after one run. So this year I invested in the K2 Alchemist. A couple things about the K2 Alchemist. It is a free ride board, okay? So this board is directional. I believe it's set back 0.75 inches, I believe. So you can see the bindings are placed a little bit further back on the board. It is, as you can see, it's got a, you know, a nice nose, but in the back it's tapered. So you know, really is more directional than it is you know, twin tip. That's definitely not a twin tip board. This board is a fast board. You want to rip it down the mountain. I'm somebody, I've got a need for speed. When I was younger, I had a need to jump. I still do, but I can't anymore. I'm just, doctor says I'm not allowed, but I still do. I just don't do anything crazy like I did back in the day. But I really focus, I love going fast. I love going fast. I love getting deep carves in, quality carves in, and you know, rip it down the mountain, you know, 80 kilometers an hour, plus. As fast as I can go is you know, as fast as the board will let me go is as fast as I will go. So what else can I say about this board? Look, a couple observations. When I put it on right away, like I said, this board wants to take off. It's smooth. This thing is like butter. It cuts through any terrain. It can be icy, it can be, you know, a sort of a rough, aggressive, you know, when it's sort of, you know, that artificial snow, clumpy snow and chunks of ice. This thing cuts through everything. It's smooth, like there's no chatter on this board whatsoever. It cuts through everything. I feel confident on this board. Even, you know, last run when you're feeling tired and your back leg wants to give out, this board just holds on, whether you're on your toe side or your heel side. And that's where I really noticed a big difference coming off of the K2 Joydriver, which is another board that I love. That's this board over here. You can see this is a 159. So, you know, kind of similar boards, right? They're not very different, but under your feet, they're kind of night and day. And this board I loved. The Joydriver I fell in love with, and I kind of never wanted to change it because I thought this was the best out there until I rode this guy here. And I'll explain why. So going back into, you know, control, this board has really good control at high speeds. It really holds both, you know, heel side, toe side. I found that on the Joydriver heel side, especially when you were tired, this board was, the Joydriver is very skittish. So, you know, while it's fun, it's playful, you know, halfway through, you know, your snowboarding day, you start getting tired and you start getting nervous that the board is actually going to slip out under your feet, because it's a really fast board too, but it's kind of out of control fast, right? You feel like, I don't know, in a Corvette, you know, flooring it, right? Rear wheel drive, and you're going to spin out. It's a little bit like the Joydriver. This one here is like your Porsche 911, where, you know, it's got top quality traction control, and I think that would be the best way to describe the two. You know, the other thing is the stiffness of the two boards. The Joydriver, and of course this is a free ride board more than freestyle. Even though it's all mountain, it's more free ride. The Joydriver was really stiff, and this is a stiffer board too. So, you know, definitely on the stiffer side, but it's an uneven stiffness. So if you look at the nose flexes a lot more than it does on the tail. Again, so, you know, riding switch with this board, there's no problem with it. It's fun riding switch. I love riding switch, and often I'll spend a day riding more switch than I will, you know, regular or goofy for me. But this board here is so much fun just riding it as it's designed to ride, which is straight. It's amazing. It's just so much fun. And switch, the enjoyment is not as high, that it just, you sort of gravitate back to, you know, riding this board straight and fast. It's good for pretty much all terrain. You know, I took it in, again, groom trails. I've taken it in trails where the conditions are not great, you know, icy. This thing grips really, really well. I've taken it in, you know, the glades or tree skiing. Awesome. I was last weekend. It was, you know, at least a foot of powder, and this thing, you know, it went through the snow like it was perfect. Really, I have no complaints about it. It rode powder, it rode all terrain very, very well, and I even ventured into the park, which I was very nervous about. I was nervous about hitting rails because it's a stiffer board, but again, it's kind of stiff by the nose, but between the feet, which is where I think K2 made a huge improvement between the Joydriver and the Alchemist, is between the feet, it's got a really nice flex to it. So I was able to hit rails. The other thing is, jumping with this board, it wants to jump. However they designed it, and kudos to K2, they made this board really, really easy to jump with. It's got this beautiful pop, and, you know, easy to grab, easy to just launch off of swells at very high speeds. And you know, I love swells. I do them at full speed, and I just love getting air and distance. And this guy, it like holds like no other board. So, you know, really, really impressed with that. What else can I say about this board? The base, it's got the carbon infused, I think 5500 a stone ground base, carbon base. This base is fast, and I love good base because, you know, I ride the ride algorithm as well, and, you know, I can tell there's a big difference between the base. And in fact, I don't want a fast base or too fast of a base on my more freestyle board, because sometimes, you know, you're in the park, you don't need that speed. This guy here, you have need for speed, it's going to give it to you. You will pass everybody, at least so far. You know, I've been no one's been able to catch up to me, so I love it. What else can I say about this guy? The top sheet, really cool. It's almost like a very fine corduroy, but it's like this non-stick base that they put on there. Look, you think it's really not that important. I love it because I often found that with other boards, snow sticks to it, and, you know, it adds weight to your board in areas. And at the end of the day, when you're getting a little tired, you know, look, a bunch of snow on your board adds unnecessary weight. And while we're trying to save weight on snowboards these days, why add some on, right? So I thought it's a fantastic feature, and I've never seen that on at least any of the boards I've rode in the past. It's got its space glass technology here. I mean, number one, it's really cool. If you look through the light, you can kind of see through it. And it's, you know, it's got its carbon, I don't even know what what you call these. Again, I'm not a features and spec guy, but, you know, the carbon fibers going in on an angle here, and I believe K2 changed the design this year. Instead of going, you know, on a diagonal, it goes diagonally, but then it comes back around like that. I was reading up on it before, and again, look, all that stuff, it's all great, but really it's about how it rides. And, you know, K2 really, really figured it out this year. This board is quiet, it's fast, it's smooth, it's got pop, it rides through pretty much any terrain. You know, as I said, I brought it in the park. This board is not designed for the park. Certainly half pipe, which I haven't had the opportunity to ride half pipe with this board yet. but I'm sure this board does really well in the half pipe as well. Gripping the sidewalls, I'm sure it does really, really well. But I haven't ridden it in pipe, so I can't really say much about that. But on anything else, overall, I'm really in love with this board. And you know, in my career, there's only been a few boards that have stood out to me. This guy here is definitely in the top 3. And I'd say it's almost in that #1 position. You know, I just think, look, different times in my career and looking for different things. Certainly as a free ride board, by far, this is the best board I have ever been on. I am so happy with this purchase. I'd recommend it to anybody to buy it. I think it's actually really tough to find right now. I think they're all sold out, but if you can get your hands on one, get one. I think the 2022 model is supposed to be the same, I believe. Just rumors, don't you know, take my word for it. But yeah, that's it, guys, for my review. It's a great board. I love it. All around, I would say this is a great buy. If I were to score this on 1 to 10, 10 being the best, I gotta put this guy in the 9s. Like, you know, maybe like I'd give it a 9, maybe even a 9.1. I don't know. And hey, look, why don't I just give you a quick review on the Joydriver, because this board, the Alchemist, basically replaced the Joydriver. This board as well is an awesome board. It's got some of the same advantages of the Alchemist. It's fast. This thing is a charging board. It goes through anything like the Alchemist. But where this one lacked was 2 areas. One is that it's a little too stiff between the legs. So if you want that pop, you want that ollie, you just can't get it. If you want to butter with this board, forget about it. You can actually butter with the nose on the Alchemist, but again, it's not a board made for buttering. It's just a little too skittish. It has some chatter to it, which this board, I found pretty much no chatter. This guy here, it would vibrate at fast speeds, but again, it was just a fast board. But sometimes, especially when you're tired, the Joydriver, it felt like it was going to give out, especially when you're on your heel side and you're going really fast and you need to come to a fast stop. You sort of lose a little bit of confidence and you start feeling that you may fall. You may have a serious bail. This guy here, you know, going from 80 kilometers an hour to, you know, a quick stop, it holds. And so all in all, K2, awesome job. I would say this is a great board. It's already, you know, if you check online, the reviews on it are really, really good. I think White Lines rated it as one of the top, if not the top board of the year for free ride boards of the year. So there's a reason why. I love it. Great job, K2. And look, happy to hear any comments, feedback, questions you guys have about this. Like I said, you know, I'm just real. I'll give you my real review on this, and hopefully I see you guys on the mountains. Cheers.